we're
What's
going
up?
across the waters for this interview. And the reason I'm saying we're going across the water is because on today's episode, man, we got one of the first Guinean American basketball players ever in the United States. On top of that, she's so dynamic, so athletically talented. Played at the University of Kentucky from 2015 through 2017. And this is how you know you're a real dog, because you can
What?
transfer and go to the University of Connecticut and turn into an actual dog. She played from 2017 through 2020. And get this, while she was there, she said, let me just pick up a few things. She earned a master's degree in sports management. And then she said, you know what? I ain't done playing because I still got some game left. Went and played pro in Spain, played for the Guinean national team, and in 2021, the FIBA women's Afrobasket team. I mean, she's doing it all. But let's bring it back here on the side of the stage for a little bit. She played at the famous Blair Academy in New Jersey. Come on. Let me just tell you some of the people who played there. Maybe you heard of some of them. Lou Dang. I mean, Lou Al Dang. I mean,
Heard of Dang.
Chicago Bulls guy. I love my Chicago Bulls. So Lou Al Dang. Charlie Villanueva. Come on now. Royal Ivy. And NFL player Don Lewis. First of all, you're just talking about a school that produced talent and champions. But on top of that, man, she has extended her life, her career, into being impactful and changing the world for women and young girls, man, not just here in the United States, but in her home nation as well. She started an organization called W.A.K.E, which stands for Women and Kids Empowerment. And what her goal is, what her aim is to leverage basketball for good by providing educational opportunities to deserving young girls. And I want to make sure I get this right, in Connecticut and New York City. Man, we want to welcome to the show the one, the only, and who I'm truly, truly, truly excited about today's show, Batouly Camara. We just gonna put you from your native lane. I know you're from the United States, but today you are from Guinean Africa. Welcome to the show. I'm Will Gates. That's my dog.
Arthur Agee in the building. Welcome to the show, Batouly.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
I don't even know where to begin with today's episode because I'm so fascinated by everything you're doing. I could have threw this out here too, Agee, while I was talking, and she was also, top 30 under 30. I could have threw that out there too. I mean, she got so much. Listen, when people say
30
going to
under 30,
absolutely. When people talk about going into the toolbox, her toolbox is full. But Batouly, we our show, though we call it the Hoop Dreams Podcast, it's that, but it's your show. Tell us your story. We want to know, how was it for you growing up? Where did you grow up, and what was it like growing up in your household?
Again, thank you so much for having me. I think what's amazing. No matter how many times you share your story, I think when you're in the journey of life, you are constantly rediscovering, right? Reanalyzing and reshaping your story. So the way you said it before, you want to share it that way because you get some new perspective. But to start, I think growing up in New York City was such a huge part of my upbringing. I grew up in New York City as a first generation Guinean, and people don't believe me when they say, I grew up in New York, but I really thought I was in West Africa the whole time. So, that came with culture, right? In terms of food, right? In terms of different things, in terms of even the language. So that was really, really important to us. I didn't speak English. It's funny. I didn't speak English until I was 7. So I got to, first, second grade. So, because that was just a huge part of it. So our parents really instilled in us, we're here in this country, but we're not going to forget where we came from. And that came with, Saturday and Sunday speaks. My aunts and uncles were back home. My mom is one of 44, the first child of 44. My grandfather had, 4 wives, so I split across from that time out. That is so funny. Yeah.
You just gonna sneak that in?
Yeah.
Did you say
You're right.
your mother was one of 44?
Yes, one of 44. One of 44.
One of
and the first. Yes.
She's the oldest
The oldest.
of 44 children.
Right. The oldest of 44 children.
Please.
So funny, right? So we had a big family, and she was kind of a trailblazer. And so you constantly grew up in a house of service. Like, we're gonna, give our clothes. It was always, you didn't throw away anything. There were no toys. You know exactly where it was. There was a family that was bigger than you. My dad was like one of 30, but again, different, multiple wives, right? 4 wives, what they had. And so, but directly same mom, same dad. My mom had 12. My dad had 10. And, he's from a family of doctors. He was a doctor, and most of my aunts and uncles on his side were all doctors. And so he really believed in the power of education and, really servicing the community through the health sector. So we kind of all grew up really understanding our parents, their roles in the life, right? And in other people's lives and in the community, and what we were expected to do. And, that was kind of my upbringing. I started to take the train when I was 8 years old, and my mom worked on 124th, right across the street from Rice. She first worked at the Harlem Shabazz Market and then worked right across the street from Rice. So I just remember growing up, and, the ambiance of Harlem at that time was so special, and kind of having this unique, cultural mix of like Harlem, I think at its livest. And then also, having really, really deep roots in the Guinean culture.
Catching the train at 8 years old.
Yeah.
But
yes. I mean, I was going from 72nd to 125th, so it was just a 2 or 3, straight line down. But yeah, so most of the time I was with my sister, but there were some times where,
and just imagine what your eyes as an 8-year-old little girl saw.
Yeah.
In that scene of those blocks that you said it was. Like,
yeah.
Just imagine what you saw like and what you were thinking like.
Yeah. Yeah, you learn to fake sleep early. You get on the train, you be like, here we go. gotta fake sleep real quick. What's happening? So yeah, you definitely do see a lot, and you have a lot of questions, and you're curious about a lot of things going on. So makes you very curious and inquisitive.
It's interesting hearing what you're saying, that there's a level of discipline that seemed like it was in your upbringing too, that getting on that train, you also knew this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, and don't veer from that. Whereas Agee and I, we'd have been like, you know what? There's a little candy store right here on there's something to make us get off the train before we get to our destination. But bodega. Yeah. Anything. As you were growing up in your household, how many brothers, how many sisters did you say?
Yeah, I have 1 brother and 2 sisters. So
growing up in your household, what was that like? I mean, are you the youngest, the oldest, the youngest? Where do you fit in on the chart?
Yeah, I think that's so important. I didn't realize that until I was, again, much older, but I am the 3rd child. So I had my older sister, my older brother, then I am there, then my younger sister. But I realized I played such a unique role as I got older. I'm the 2nd oldest girl. So of course I'm constantly talking to my sister, right? But I'm right near my brother when I play basketball. So right through sports. And then I'm also kind of the youngest. So I'm giving kind of all those things and roles
you the baby.
to take care of my younger sister. And so, yeah, it was just a great mix of kind of being the middle / last child, but having these deep connections with my siblings in different ways.
That's amazing. I'm loving this too. But let's keep it in your family for a little bit. Just a couple more questions. So your mom and dad, how were they in your eyes growing up? Because you said some things earlier. You're like, I didn't speak English until I was in, going. You say 1st grade, 2nd grade. You said.
Yeah, I took English language, and they were like, "You've never been out the country, but it's a language that you don't really read or write, so you have to pass it down verbally." And that was so, so important, especially coming to this country, that our kids have our language. They have, when they go back home, they can communicate. We can communicate to them. And so in our house, there's no English. And so, yeah, language is
So
very
the
important to
community you
us.
lived in, were there others from your native country?
No one, but with our aunts and uncles. So no one, right, Midtown Manhattan, right on, 60th. So nobody, but, I think families, our family lived in Maryland, so we take summer trips, but it was that language was at the forefront. Again, no English in our household. So that was, I say kind of affirmed.
You got to do this for us. I know we ain't going to understand it, but you got to give us a little bit of that native tongue. Can you give us a little bit?
I mean, yeah, Tanaste is pretty straightforward. Tanaste is kind of like, how are you? How's everything? So Tanaste.
Tana.
Tanaste.
Tanaste.
Yeah, Tanaste.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Tanaste.
Solid. Tanaste. Yeah. You say that to any Guinean, they're gonna be like, "Where'd you learn that from?"
And we go shout you out. We go like, "Oh, Batouly told us this."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as you were growing up, obviously again, discipline was very strong in your family. You go throughout elementary school, but at what point, and did it happen in elementary school or did it happen in high school, that also you began to want to take on your own identity? Because it seemed like a very close-knit family, very disciplined family. And because America is the way that it is, I'm sure that they were also trying to protect you from certain things that could lead you the wrong way. But at one point, and I hate to say it this way because you were born here, but at what point did the American influence, and once you begin to start understanding English, that you said, you know what? Let me jump in on some of this.
Never. No, I'm joking. My mom would be like, never. Which is so funny, but it actually happened through basketball. And it was really fun, right? I went to this elementary school that was 5 blocks down from my house. And then I ended up going to middle school that was on 90th Street. My first year, I tried out for the team. And our school was really, didn't have a huge budget for sports. So we only had a girls team or a boys team. And so that year I tried out and I made the boys team. And, in terms of how girls and boys I was like 5'7", 5'8" at the time. It's pretty tall. And all the boys kind of had one summer where they took a nap and they woke up like 6 feet tall. I'm like, what in the world? But in 6th grade, I was the center. I stood tall in 6th grade. And so they all caught up to me. But I just remember that was such a great integration process. It gave me a community, and I just remember, after practice, going to the deli and getting a pizza. Before walking the games, taking the training games, playing other schools, and now you really feel like you are a part of something. And, I had such great allies and such great support on that team. Again, I was the only girl on this team, but I had amazing, amazing support. Like these were, so like my brothers, right? And these were not people who also, playing me in school. Like we were friends outside of basketball. So, and you have this diverse people like 6th graders to 8th graders. So now I had this, friend group, and then also developing other friendships. But that was really the integration process, because now outside of just leaving school and going straight home, like I said, I'm going to practice. Now I'm taking the train back with my friends, right? With my teammates, right? We're leaving games, or building these relationships with my coaches. So that was really the first integration process, which is what made me fall in love with the game. It wasn't really basketball, but it felt like even in the hardest practices, I loved, that and those memories for my teammates. There's this quote I love where, if a man has, or a person, right, has a why, they can bear almost any habit, right? And so that was, the why was friendship, right? It was these deep connections that I made. So the how became to be irrelevant in that process.
It will. And just check, she's the only girl on her school basketball team. So you got to tell us this, because I know us boys, how we feel about a girl being on our team. When did they test you? And do you remember when you opened their eyes and they was like, oh, she can play?
Yeah. It was 2 points actually, and it wasn't even in practice. It was in a game. It was in a game, and I still remember this crowd was crazy. Like this, it wasn't a championship game, but the crowd was crazy. And I wish I could remember the school, but I remember the moment so vividly. And coach put me in, and I think I had like a crazy block or something, and it was just like, and they're like, and again, putting me in, they were kind of hesitant because this crowd was yelling crazy things.
Yeah.
Like this was one of those crowds, right? Like they were yelling crazy things. Like, coach, are you really gonna put her in like into the crowd? It's like, oh, you guys, right. Like you're gonna put in this 6th grade girl. Like, what are you doing, coach? And put me in. I think I had a crazy, again, like I said, the growth spurt. So I was a little bit taller. There's probably like only one other boy. And so I had like a block, I had 2 layups, and it was like, wow. And so that was a moment where I was like, okay, she had gained our trust. And the second I would say is, which was so funny, by the end of the year, again, I didn't know girls played. This sounds so silly and so funny to say, but I went that whole year and I thought, man, I'm it. Like I'm the only girl out here. It's so crazy, right? Like this is like 21, like 2000, like anyway. And I remember they said, well, you got invited to an all-star game. I'm like, okay. And I go to the all-star game, and it's a girls all-star game. It's for our league, right? The middle school league, they had girls and boys. And I see other girls, and there's girls cooking. But and my whole team went to support me, right? Coach was such an ally. I still connect to him today. My middle school coach, first coach, and he made the whole team go and support me. And I did really well against other girls to where actually I picked up for AU team, but there were other girls who were really good. And I think they never saw a lot of these other girls, but they saw how well I competed. And that was another level of respect. And I'm like, oh, wow, you knew she was going to be like, wow, she is actually against other girls good too. So that was, yeah. I don't think I've ever shared that story.
To your coach.
That was good.
What was your coach name? What was your coach name?
So I had 2, Coach Birchinall and Coach Brown. Coach Brown is actually in Canada, so shout out to Canada.
Shout out to them coaches.
Shout out to the coaches.
Talent, baby.
Yes.
They saw that talent early.
Yeah.
So who put that ball in your hand? Like, what did you?
Yeah.
Was it competing with your brother?
Naturally, my brother actually started off playing football. He played basketball, but a big part of it was our mom never let us go. We went home, and we went to school and home, and so my brother actually started playing flag football in school. And then he joined, again, he's older than me by about 3 years. So he joined the school team, right? And that was kind of his entry when he fell in love with basketball and ended up playing basketball throughout his career. And then actually, it's so funny. I was walking by a park. I still remember I was walking by a park in 72nd Street, and I saw a girl who was tall. And I was like, where did she get her jeans from? Like, I'm struggling in fashion, right? I'm like, where did she get her pants from? And I remember I was like, when you talk about like, oh, the bodega, I was like, I'm on a schedule, but let me go ask her where she got these jeans from real quick. Time is of the essence. And I remember I went, and then I asked her, she basically told me, she's like, that's irrelevant. Like, you should play basketball. I said, yeah. And she had a basketball there. And at the time I thought she was a giant. She was 6 feet, but this giant level in person, right? Like, taller than me. And she put a ball in my hand, and we shot around a little bit, and that was it. And then she's like, just try for your middle school team. I was like, sure. And that was it. And that was like this moment, and we're friends. She was a person in the neighborhood, so we're friends. We see each other, and we still talk about it. And that was it. I tried out for my middle school team, and then tried out for my an AU team, Riverside Hawks. Right, everybody kind of knows the legacy of Riverside Hawks. And I joined that with Shanae Jones, and that was one of my first coaches, Shanae Jones, and she's up there coaching at NYU, and it was awesome. And it's the rest feels like history from there. But that was kind of the pathway to entering sport.
You have the most unlikeliest stories.
Right?
It's like,
can't make this up.
Yeah, you can't make this up. Y'all just walking down the street, just happen to look over there, one girl in the park hooping. And you're like, she got clothes on that fit her. Let me go figure out.
These jeans are hitting the floor. Like, this girl's onto something in life. I gotta get.
She and they fit her. And they fit her.
Right. Like, and they fit her. I was like, I don't even think she told me the brand. I was like, can you, focus.
And people think you can't walk into purpose, but you literally walked into purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
so
waiting
funny.
on you sitting there.
So funny.
So now you're doing middle school ball, because again, your story is like we said earlier, unlikely. Where did you get the skill set? How did you begin to? Because let's just be honest, the attention still was not on girls basketball the way that we see it today. So where were you learning this skill set at to play?
Yeah. My initial coaches were amazing. I really credit a lot to them. And I didn't really like practices because all I remember is right, left up and left, right up. And I'm like, I'm trying to be doing crossovers. Why? You have me doing form shots every day. Like, hello. And it's so funny. The AU team I joined was a 15, I think 15 or 16 U. So a lot of these girls were going on to colleges, and I was 11, and they took me onto the team. I was the youngest one on my team, and I'm at such a different point where I just started picking up the game again. I started it when I was in middle school, first year in middle school. I'm just picking up the game. I'm entering 7th grade, and I have these girls who are sophomores and juniors. And you know the pressure that comes with they're trying to go to college and they have a different level of seriousness, but they took me on because they said, okay, we think you can really grow with our team. And so I still remember they still all call me the baby, and they, I had a group of big sisters and they were really tough because I remember they were competing for scholarships. Like this was really real to them. And I couldn't even,
it was survival for them.
It was survival for them. And I just, remember my first coach, like I said, this AU team was amazing because these are 3 friends who came together and were coaching the team, right? They went to, 2 of them went to NYU. This is amazing. I'm so excited. I never get to share this. It's so crazy. First is Shanae Jones, right? Played at NYU, who's now coaching there. Then it was Chloe Hilliard that also played at NYU and was working, right? I think at the time with Vice. And then we had Bethany, right? And Bethany played at Stanford, played for the Liberty, and she's now, I believe, like vice president for the WNBA. Like, right? Like these are my 3 coaches. Like, right? And these are 2 centers. And I was just like, wow, how lucky are we? Bethany Donovan. And so I'm just like, what is this? Like, this was my core 3. And these are strong Black women who just were like, I thought they were like girlfriends sometimes. I come in and be like, is this the episode of Girlfriend? Because it was so unique to see successful Black women at that time and to be there. And they were coaching and not for the money. They just had this love for the game and to give back. And so we would go to galas. We would go to, so many different networking events. We were doing this at 11, 12, but again, they were at such a different level and they were trying to be for us. And they're trying to build our brains and our social capital, right? Like how do you navigate these terms? And again, they went to NYU, so they were just really well educated and amazing Black women. And Shanae went on to become like my lifelong mentor, who's still in my life today, and a big part of that. But again, I had a great team, and they just talked about the fundamentals and the basics. Like they was far shooting and left right up. That's it. That's all they took me.
You just formed yourself, was like, well, I'm just gonna be a sponge and don't say much and just do everything they do.
Yeah, and when you're young, the older girls are getting out here competing. They're just like, we just need you to work hard, right? Like that's it. Just come in, if you get in the game, just work hard, just get the rebound and everything. My best was what they asked for me, and that was so great. But again, playing against that higher competition definitely forced me to up my game and it quickly. Yeah.
Again, another unlikely story, and the reason being is because you just don't see that when someone younger comes in, that can be seen as a threat.
Yeah.
It's like, whether you were playing now or for the future, still seem we got this 11-year-old. Coach didn't pick me when I was in elementary school. Elementary school, right. It's like, how did you compartmentalize that? How did you, even being young? I mean, again, and I know this had a lot to do with your parents, your family structure, because of that level of discipline, to stay focused and committed to the thing that because I'm sure on some level your parents say, okay, if you're going to commit to this, then let's commit to this. But how did you, because here's the thing I don't want to, just push past, you were still 11.
Still 11, 12.
Some things still just had to be funny to you, some things still was probably silly to you,
Yeah.
But how did you compartmentalize that?
I think our parents instilled in us a purpose, right? Like of what you're doing, but it really didn't click for me until I skipped practice, which is funny. I skipped practice one day, and I remember I went to the park with my friends, some friends in school, and these were, these are friends I can kind of need, and they're like, we're going to the park. You should, skip practice. Let's go to the park. And I was like, sure. And I remember I went to the park, and I got home, and my mom was like, you weren't at practice. Your coaches called me. And I was like, my goodness, obviously I'm getting in trouble now. And she called my coach, and my coach was like, obviously you're going to be at practice tomorrow. And I said, sure, okay. And I went to, and again, from that point, it was just fun. I'm just living my life. And I remember I went to practice, and coach made me run the entire practice. And then with 30 minutes,
that's a Will Gates story.
And with 30 minutes left, she made the entire team run. So now they're pissed at me, and I'm the youngest. Like, they're like, what are you doing? And afterwards we went and we took a walk, right? And it was still I still remember it was like a cold day, like a cold winter day. And I'm just like, I couldn't even walk. I thought I died that day. I was like, I died. And she says, you're cut from a different cloth. I'll never forget she said that. And she's like, and once you realize and embrace how different you are, then you need to go soul searching. I'm 11. What are you talking about, soul searching? And I was like, what do you mean soul searching? You need to go soul search. You need to figure it out. You need to cut off those friends. You need to do these certain things. And then, later on we had a conversation, with my mom. She came to our house, and this is the first coach who entered our house, right? It wasn't like she was from outside. She came to our house and she sat down, and my mom, the conversation wasn't, she's such a bad girl. It was, I'm giving my daughter to you. I don't want you to see my daughter as player. This is your daughter. This is your child. Whatever you would do for your child, do it for her. Because I don't know anything about basketball, but I know about people and about culture. And so I'm giving her to you. And that conversation was so real because, one, I see the pressure and how my coach took that. And now I'm on the receiving end of that. Like, I don't take that's all I don't. But I'm going to give her to you. Like, as your daughter, as your own. We're in this together. This is not your coach. This is like Mama Jones. We are in this together. We are a partnership. And so that's what happened. It's amazing. I had changed my friend group, which was really difficult. I still remember that process. You don't want to hang out with us anymore? You want to do this anymore? No, I can't, because my friends don't do that. And I remember having a great friend group, and my friends are now nurses and doctors, and I'm still friends with them till today. But they were like not as aesthetically cool, but they were just trying to do the right thing. Like, they just wanted to go home. They never told me to miss practice. They go with me to practice. They were just so different. It wasn't as big of a group, but it was 3 core group, and 3 core friends who later on, like I said, my middle school team, we could only afford one team. So my 6th and 7th grade year, I was a part of the boys team. And finally in 8th grade, the principal sat me down with the coach and said, do you want to change this year and have a girls team? All of our boys have graduated, and we could only have one team. And Batouly, we think you've grown that much that we want to give you all girls team. Do you have anybody? And those same friends who had never played a lick of basketball joined, and we were only, right, including myself, just so we could have a girls team. And that was a special moment, and when I really realized the definition of friends. We made it to the championship. We lost by 1 point, and I was distraught. But the whole goal, when you watch like basketball, it's like pass Batouly the ball. That was the whole plan. And at this time, they were just standing there. Mind you, my friend, they did track. They were athletic. They did track and like softball. And it was only 4, but they never played anything. But they were just like, we'll do this for you. And that was the biggest of love to me and friendship at that time. And I really held that close. But yes, all that to say, it wasn't ever about basketball. It was about this commitment about giving my daughter to you for a better life and opportunity that I didn't know. Because always in education, if you're saying this is sport, I trust you in that. And she's going to go social. She's going to do the work, and this is important to her.
Yeah.
This is a family. So.
Sometimes always comes a point in your young life where you would do something as a kid, and you just being a kid, you're not really knowing, but it'll be that adult, someone that'll just grab you by the arm and let you know that see something in you that you don't see in yourself right now.
Exactly right.
And right. I mean, I get chills just to say that, because I can remember when that happened to me. So that cold winter day when you missed that practice and you say y'all went for that walk, that was coach telling you that, hey, you ain't like them. You different. See something in you.
Yeah. And not only that, I see something in you, but it's going to be hard, but I'm on this journey with you. And that as well is important, because I don't even know what this journey looks like, but I know that I can count on you. And that was really, I think, a big, yeah.
It's just so interesting because I'm gonna keep saying this word, the unlikeliest, because I think everything that you've been talking about up to this point still stems back from your parents being able to trust you on that train ride.
Right.
If they were not able to trust you, I think the story is different. Not meaning that you would not be who you are today, but I'm talking about in terms of that when that coach showed up, I think it seemed like there was something, hey, look at that. I got stars behind me. That's how excited I was. I think there was always, it seemed like there was something always in you that when there was a realness that you can tell and feel. And there was a level of like early on, like you knew the importance of a thing. And so when your coach did that, showing up to your house, and Agee, I think you and I, we've experienced a little bit of that, man. When people invest in you, something inside of you click that make you say, man, if they gonna fight this hard for me, I know I can fight this hard for myself.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm just seeing that in your story. So now you're playing, you continue to grow. Now you're going into high school. You're at Blair Academy, and you ain't got to worry about if they got a boys or a girls team there.
Yeah.
Because they definitely got both there.
Definitely.
Going into the school, what was that like for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, was it always that high school you was gonna go to, or was there a bidding war? And hey, Batouly need to come over to this school. No, she need to come over here. Christ the King, this here.
Yeah. Well, initially, again, I was okay, but I didn't really improve until I think I got to high school. And I started off at graphics right on 50th Street. It's a public school. And my mom, we had the option of boarding school. We had visited a bunch of like 5 to 6 boarding schools. And again, when you visit something like a boarding school, your eyes open. What is this place, right? Like, this looks like Hogwarts. Like, what is this, secret location? Like, it's so amazing. And my mom was, really like, you're not gonna go. You're not gonna go because we really believe in being with your child, right? Raising your child, and you don't want them to go off and take different characteristics or experiences that you don't know. And so that 8th grade year going into 9th grade, she's like, you're not going to boarding school. And that was fine. That was like,
Like,
and so we accepted it and we moved past it. But then towards the end of the year, it was, my brother had actually went to boarding school during that year. And he was his first year at Blue Ridge down in Virginia, boarding school. And he had such an amazing experience. And he got the scholarship through basketball. And he called my mom. He said, Mom, this is an opportunity like no other. Like, at the time, Blair was like $60,000. He asked her, do you have $60,000? Do you have it now or you're going to have it in college? My mom was like, of course I don't have that. He's like, so you need to like let her go. And he was a huge ally for me at that time against Shanae, and we're down her forward path until I remember we visited this boarding school, and we visited a bunch of boarding schools, and this one kind of seemed great. And I think it's funny, they had an African girl on the team, and then my mom was sold, oh yes, this will be your big sister, because it was never about the location, it was about the people. I think you have somebody who's from Motherland who you can find that's your big sister. So she was really, really loved that aspect. And so my sophomore year, actually, I went to Blair as a new sophomore, and I ended up reclassing as a junior. But I went to Blair as a new sophomore because my mom really had to be full for that 1 year of me. Yeah.
So, hey, whenever I think of boarding school, Will, I always think of what was this the show?
St. Joe's. St. Joe's was a boarding school too.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think of boarding schools. I think of these. How do you say it? These princey
military. No,
on some level military, but also I hate to say this word for lack of a better, word. Sure.
Pristine type of thing. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But your boarding school was in Jersey.
Yeah. It had all those elements, but it was on the hood. It was in Blairstown. There's no hood, no hood near there.
You're in the suburbs.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Yeah.
And I see that they got an amazing picture of you on their website playing with the the Guinean national team. I mean, y'all are some athletes there. I mean, how you say her name? Is it Timmy?
Yeah, Timmy Shagdadman.
Play with the Lynx.
Yep, she's had an awesome story.
Wow.
Livia.
How did you feel when you saw another African girl on the team?
Yeah, Tammy was charting her own path. She was like, they called her Renaissance woman. She's had a crazy life. Like, she decided to go to Harvard, did her 5th year at USC, then went on to stop for a year to model, then went on to play her first team back with the Lynx, won a championship with Maya Moore. She lived a life, and so this was the role model, right? Like, this was the predecessor. And what I loved about boarding school was, I was living with my teammates, and it's so funny. We were so competitive because now you have structure in your day, right? You're leaving at a certain time, you're lifted at a certain time. And my roommate at the time was Sadie Edwards, who was, once committed to UConn, Kate, right? Who was committed to Columbia. And so it's funny, like some days, you wake up at 7, oh, my roommate's not here. Oh, I gotta, wake up at 10, wake up at 6. And so we had this healthy competitive spirit between us. And that year we had girls go to Cal Berkeley, we had girls go to WNBA. So it was a team of like just people who were really, really super competitive. And we had a girl go to West Point, and we had just great leaders who were just relentless, right? Like graduated 3rd at West Point, right? Like just a leader in every sense of the word, right, in the military. And so yeah, we had a great team. I had great leaders who were just very, very competitive. So it was a healthy environment.
Let me ask you this, Batouly, though, like when you go to boarding school like that, do you guys play against just other boarding schools, or did you able to play public schools in New Jersey? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So there are certain schools we can play because we allow 5th-year seniors. A lot of schools don't like to play us. They think we obviously have a playing advantage. So there's private schools. There's like sport type of schools, right, where the kids are there. But we play against other boarding schools. We play against public schools. More of like a Christ the King, which kind of have like a private school element to it, which we're allowed to play. But there's some public schools we played East Orange, a bunch of different schools in Jersey that wanted to, but a majority of them didn't. There was some rule in there because we did 50 seniors.
Basically, y'all had a super team.
Yeah, that's what many people think that.
I'm looking at this campus. There are some universities that don't say. I'm just saying.
It's true.
There's some universities that don't have this.
It's true.
Man, this is true.
You saying they got money in the grass?
Hey, listen, there's a field for everything. There's a field for if you just want to walk.
I'm telling you.
I mean, they got a feel for everybody's name. I mean, man, this is.
I'm telling you.
Going there.
Yeah.
What was your first impressions, though? Were you
culture
thinking
shock?
Yeah.
Yeah. My roommate was Korean,
Wow.
and she was Korean, and I was just like, this is so unique, and she's amazing. But I remember her first story was like, my nanny back home is from Africa. And I used to be like, girl, what are you talking about right now?
That's right. He's like, let's not go there.
But she was awesome. And it was a safe space to really, I think, again, when you were with this, with people, again, they had a good mix of, people from the inner city and those who were really privileged. And I think it was this healthy connection of like, these preconceived biases and notions that you come in, because again, you're 14, right? It's 14, 15, and you're coming in from your silo, from your house, your place where your communities which often look like you. And so you come in with these whatever preconceived notions. And I think they do a really good job of these talks, these sessions that are really intentional about breaking that down. And so, a lot of people after that first year are just humanized, and you have such a diverse friend group because you understand at the end of the day, we're having real human experiences and emotions and feelings, right? Of doubt, of fear, of accomplishment, of love, of hope. And so, yeah, I think they do a really great job of that.
Interesting enough, but your experience again was still so much different than anyone else, because
your school accepted people from all over the world.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
You're not navigating, other folks from New Jersey or other aspects of the United States. You're talking about global. Yeah, this is a global education. Kind of give us a run through, like what was like daily activity, like was because again, when we think about boarding school, we think about, hey, you dress, you go to class, you focus, give us what was your typical day like?
Yeah, there's always key elements that you remember. The first is no one's waking you up, right? Like you have to wake yourself up. You have to set an alarm. You come in. We had at the time it was business casual, no jeans, no hoodies. Again, business casual, like button down shirts, dresses, things, khakis, whatever the case may be. So that's your first thing in the morning, right? How am I going to get dressed? And you have breakfast signing, buffet style breakfast. You have bagels, omelet station, waffles, right? Whatever, you really want. And there's diverse breakfast, and you head to class. And the second part that I think is really a key element is their harkness like tables, right? Like, and I get through the studies that I've done, these are all meant to get kids comfortable in a board-like setting, right? There's no chairs and a desk. It's a harkness like table, and everyone pulls up, and everyone has open and free discussions. And the biggest thing that I struggled with at that time, to kind of segue from the schedule, but was why, right? I was used to public school. They tell me to do X, Y, Z. Like, this is the answer, it's ABC. Here it was free flow. What are your thoughts? Can you defend it? And that was the hardest element for me. Anything that's right if you can defend it. I was like, and it was completely changing the way I was thinking. I wasn't not necessarily obedient, but I was just free thinking, and it was really, really difficult for me in these classes where it was just like, say what you want. And sometimes it was considered rude. Oh, you saying that in class? You saying that to the teacher? But it was having a healthy relationship and dynamic with power structures. This is not just my teacher, but this is someone I can also challenge. Can challenge their thoughts and their minds. And that's the kind of environment that they're producing, right? Thought leaders. And again, we talk about the aspect of social capital, being comfortable enough to stand up and to say certain things. And so then you have classes, you have lunch, again, buffet style, salad bar, pasta, right? Sandwiches, paninis, right? Yogurts, anything, right? Soup station. And then from there, you go on to some classes, and then you have practice. And a different key element is for your first year as a freshman, you have to play 3 different seasons of a sport. So fall sports, winter sport, basketball, and spring sport. But even if you were there for basketball, you had to do a different sport. So I did soccer, and I did cross country, and I did basketball in the winter. And then in the spring, I did track, and I did the play, because you had to do that much activity. And then you come in, you have study hall from your phones are outside, in the hallway, they collect everyone's phones. You have study hall from like 8 to 9, right? 7 to 9. And then from there, you have free time for about an hour, call your family, do what you want, and lights out, Wi-Fi off at 10. And you have, these seniors who are in the dorm or in the dorm who stay in the hallway with the teacher to monitor, the activity. So that was, and they stayed there until like 12 or 1 a.m. And now it's a typical day. And you have classes on Saturday too. It was a half day, but you have classes on Saturday too. But that was due to international students because they're going so far from home. So December break would be like 2 months, right? Christmas break, spring, summer break is 3 months. So you had these longer breaks because they're traveling. But that's subsiding, and that in a sense for you at class on Saturdays. So yeah.
He just had an incredible life experience up to this point. I mean, it's like
unique.
Yeah, very unique. But at the same time too, I mean, building such an incredible foundation in you. I mean, again, I think that started with your parents, the discipline and the skill sets that they entrusted and put in you guys at every level. Like you could see the build up. Like if this was a movie, like we see the build up of your life. So you're at school, you're hooping, because we want to talk about some basketball. Let's get into this hooping.
Yeah,
you're out here at Blair Academy,
right,
doing your thing. When was it, or what was the game, or when did you know? Yeah, I'm ready.
It was a summer. It was my sophomore going into my junior year, and I remember my mom, like I said, she had a shop, And I remember when I came home from the summers, I always had to work in my mom's shop. And I was trying to tell her, and she's like, you're not going to play AAU. You need to work. You need help. I need help at work. You need to work. So we had come up with a deal with my mom about, okay, after work, can I work out? Right. And at this time, I was playing with Ring City, which is with Walter Welch down in New Jersey. And I remember this was summer, right? This is now this 3-month stretch. And I would go to work with my mom from 7 a.m. until like 4 p.m. I would get on the train from Harlem or the Bronx and go down to Brooklyn. This is like an hour, 2-hour train ride. Take a quick nap, wake up, and I'd go and I'd have this crazy one-on-one workout. And it was like 2 hours, come home and I'd do it again. And I did that for like 2 months straight. And it was gruesome because I'm sore, but I'm working with my mom. And again, it's not like, just sitting in the shop and I'm moving stuff. It's heavy lifting, It's organizing, it's a bunch of stuff. But in my mind, I'm spacing out. But again, I had such a limited time. And I remember, where I'm Brooklyn, we used the gym, but the janitor, would have to come and kick us out. So we'd have like hour and a half, and that moment was meaningful. And I remember my first tournament, like, your first tournament out after you've been grinding, like, man, like, I was like, it's over. Like, that first tournament, and it was so funny. And I just went off. That summer was unbelievable. I went from being not ranked, to like 50, to like 20, to like top 10. So fast. It was sprinting.
And this was going into your
my junior year.
Wow.
My junior year. And what happened was I fell in love with the mundane. I fell in love with the boring parts of the workout. I fell in love with the repetition, the repetition of it all. Like, it was so boring, it was so mundane, but I fell in love with the details. And that's when I knew something that clicked for me. When I'm exhausted, I'm going to my mom's shop again, waking up at 7, 8 a.m. and I'm going to work with my mom. And it was, and I felt a different level of maturity and maturity and aspect. Like, I'm working out, but I didn't have time to work out my AUT because, I'm working with my mom. So, I had to balance this. Every minute counted. And when I saw the results of that work, like every athlete, became super addicting. I got addicted. This is, I need to work out. I need to get 4 days now. We gotta go. I went into my junior year and I had interest. I had such again, not ranked to 50 to 20 to top 10, all in one summer. Just everybody, competition was right. And then I decided to reclass. And so the interest skyrocketed because we already had interest in this girl, but now you're saying you're going to be a junior. And so if we want to do for class 2015, 2014, now we get you for 2015. So that means you're only going to improve. And so with that, it wasn't like, I'm taking a year to get a year off. I'm taking a year to get better. I can get even better. This is what 3 months of work got me. What can I do? And again, just like I said, me become addicted to the work.
Now, whose thought process was for you to reclass?
It was a bunch of different things. It was, mostly at Blair, just looking at education. I wasn't even looking at Ivy League, and so just wanted to do that. I came into Blair as a new sophomore, so I initially wanted to do 4 years, and I was always younger. Started elementary school really early, so even if I was at my age, it's funny, I did 5 years of high school, 5 years of college, but I still graduated early, like with my age, because I had to do school so early. So all those things are the developmental, kind of all aligned to reclassing.
Now, how does that work? I will be the first to admit, I've seen folks reclassify. I don't quite understand it. Can you explain to me and to our audience what does that mean necessarily? Because you're reclassifying. So are you literally doing academically too? The entire year?
Yes. Not over. You're not going to take the same classes, but essentially you're considered a junior, and that's your class. Like, you completely move down to that class, but you're not doing the same classes. You could take a senior level class, like for example, you could take senior level class as a junior and then college level class as a senior, but you still take different classes. But, your year and your social standing in school as a junior.
Gotcha. So you said that summer that was those workouts. That's when you knew.
Yeah.
But give Agee and us that game.
Yeah.
When in school where you was just like, can't nobody touch me. It ain't.
Know I'm the best player on the floor.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. I think it was one of our games against Life Center. And we had, it's funny because it's very rare that you have college coaches in the building who play well. I mean, to some, right? But it was a game. Coaches are packed, and I just remember it. My palms are getting sweaty thinking about it. Man, I was ready. I was ready. I was just ready. And in that game, it was everything. Just everything. Those games when the game was slow and everything clicks. It was one of those games. I don't know how much I got, but I think that was my highest scoring game. Where
was it a double-double?
It was a double-double for sure. It was a double-double for sure. Yeah. It was tough. It was we won by 3. This was a game, and this was a highly ranked team. Like these girls went to Rutgers, these girls went to Florida, Texas A&M. This team was stacked. Right, like former NBA players going. So this team is a good team, and we won that game, and it was just those are my best games.
Ain't nothing better.
I know them college coaches was like, I want her. Please, I want her.
For sure.
We'll give you the moolah. Come here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who was that player though? Like Agee and I, we talk about this a lot too on the show. Who was that player that you had to beat to get to the next level? Who was that for you?
Yeah. That's a great question. Sentimental, you want to say yourself. But it was so funny. It was my teammates. It was really one of my senior teammates. Who's my best friend, Bridget. And again, she went to West Point. Yeah. Because you know why? People can do an amazing scouting report and they can understand what you like to do. But there's nothing like that veteran player who's tough, has just had a tough career. They were getting recruited. We talk about the phrase, they got out the mud and they know your every move and you're never going to embarrass them. And they may not be as good as you, but they're going to work you. And again, they've watched you. They know your every move. They know everything you're going to do. And she was always tough because she was relentless. The word, right? Like we talk about, was it Tim Grover? Like relentless in every sense of the word. And so she was always so tough because even when you're good, there's still mental battles and lapses, right? Because then you meet somebody who's maybe as good, as talented, as fast, and as smart, right? And that's when it becomes really, really hard to beat. So finally being able to have the composure and the mentality. I've always had the strength and the skill, but to have the mental aspect add up, right? To the skill and to that, to have the composure to beat her, was really, really at the level of my game.
I respect that. I mean, that's huge. I respect that because I believe every athlete on some level goes through that. That's just.
It wasn't a big name. This wasn't like the ranked player. It was just the player who's gonna die on this court today. Every time.
And then the people you hate playing against. You're like, you're glad they on your team, but you hate playing against them because you're right. Even in practice, I think I remember when I think I saw a podcast when they were talking about the guy was guarding LeBron. He was guarding him so tough. LeBron said, "Man, you can't guard me today, man. I'm tired of you guarding me because I can't." Because that is these are the people that you feel like, and I don't know if you felt like this, but I used to feel like for me, Agee, it was Adam Farmer. So I'm just like, dude, am I like the only dude you concerned about? Do you not want to guard anybody else in the building? Like, you're doing open gym. They're like, oh, I got you. Why?
Leave me alone.
Because he knows I don't care if I'm on. I need to be on this guy because I know I'm going to get better in some way, form, or fashion. If I guard him, I'm gonna be mentally better, whatever. Y'all can guard anybody else, but I got this dude.
It was that, but they also was like, I know I'm the only one that got enough courage. Got the courage to want to compete against you.
Yeah. It does take a lot of courage to say, you can get crossed up. Like, I'm a better player than you. You can, I can do the work, but like, I'm not going to back down. And because, again, it's a few moves we're going to hit them with, but it's a marathon. It's a marathon in there, and it's for the long haul. Those type of players.
They never relax either. They never relax.
And you see those moments where you're dead tired, and they're like, let's go. You're like, yo, what going? Relax.
You're like, why are you pressing me? This is open gym.
Yeah.
Batouly, I can tell though you love that competitive fire. Like you wouldn't want it any other way though. Like I can tell that about you. Like you cut from that cloth.
Yeah. That takes time to grow. You know, because initially, like you said, just get off me. And then you get to a point where like, what do you have? What's in you? You trying to search. Now you're searching. What's in there?
Yeah.
Like to where a 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to get you. But that one time I slip up, they're right there. Right. And again, you start to meet a lot of players who are better than you. What's the edge? And it's that, you know, the intangibles. I
like that word you use.
What's the edge that you have over?
Yeah, I love that edge. Because it is, because it's interesting. You learn from them and you actually put that in your game. You like, this is the piece that I'm missing from my own game. This why I can't, you know, we win this game. I can't overcome the way that I need to be because this is a piece of them that I don't have. And once you put that in and you show them that, then they like, oh, okay, you different today.
Yeah.
They say different today.
Yeah. That's an activity that Coach Oriema used to, not to jump ahead to UConn, but he would always ask us, which one of your teammates do you really like? You know, who do you think is a great teammate? Who do you trust on this team? And you know, we pointed out, and he says, so funny how we often choose the people who want to be like, right? We admire those who really do want to, you know, be that way. So I think that's, you know, to your point. How do I do it? And initially it's annoying and you want to be detached from it, but once you embrace it, it's being better for you. That takes some reflection.
That's huge there. So you're killing in high school. And I mean, I read all your stats. When I say killing, you killing. I mean, you're right. You made the quickest jumps from not being ranked to when you're a senior, you're the second best power forward in the nation, and you're ranked nationally, was it 8th or 9th? You top 10. That's for sure.
All right, you top 10.
And has there ever been a moment in your life where you said, man, I'm just that little girl on the train, and here I am now living this unbelievable dream, getting ready to make one of many, toughest decision of my life, where I'm going to go spend my college career, athletic and academic career at. At any moment during that time, did you say, man, I'm just that little girl still on that train? Have you ever had moments like that?
Yeah. It was thinking about the college process. I actually went through it with one of my best friends, Ashanti. And Ashanti started playing basketball at 15 years old. So she started even later than I did. And she was 6'4". And we would take the train home together and we'd talk about our dreams. We would cry about our dreams. This is the first person who, we would be on trains and we weren't good. So we wanted it so bad.
Okay, right.
And we would be like getting roasted in practice. Like, can you believe she did that to me? Like, you're trash. And we were just talking like about, man, and we were so, we really wanted to be good. And so it was those moments where I look back on those conversations on. Tell me, it's so funny when you look at like movie clips like that. So like, tell me your biggest dream, Ashanti. Like, it's so funny because even on top of that, what I forgot to add was in that summer that I jumped was me and Ashanti on the days where I wasn't working. We would go to we would walk from 116. That's like a lot of miles. We would walk from 116 all the way to 145th and back. And we would find every gym, every outdoor court, and we would try to play in every outdoor court just to play. And again, we were so bad, but we said if we can get over our fears here, we would be so much better. And again, these courts are like really aggressive. They would only pick one of us, and we weren't good in practice, so we needed another place to gain confidence, right? Or to practice the skills that we could, because we was getting fine against our teammates. They're killing me.
How old were you?
We were like 14. This was before I went to Blair, so 14. Yeah, she was
like
16.
Who's thinking about that, Agee? Who's thinking about that? Like, I need to go play at other places to get better. Like I'm just saying, at age 14,
you need to play.
That's what they need to do now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But the purpose behind it, I love the fact that Batouly always found the purpose in it. Like she never did anything just to be doing it per se. It was always a purpose behind it. She's like, we can cook. We need to go find some place where we can get better.
Yes, yes. And we need to guard boys. We need to play. If we can score against them, they can score, right? So we're both going into high school. Like I said, she was a sophomore. She just started playing in high school. And I remember I sometimes think back to our conversations. I just want to get recruited, and like we would look at like Slam magazine and like ESPN Top 100, and we got to get on this list, Ashanti. Like we just got to do it. And you look back at those moments. So I did have a lot of those moments because she was one of the first people that called when the rankings came. We kind of shared that moment, and we've always shared these moments in our blood. So yes, for sure. I thought back to those moments in the girl. We dreams about it.
You know,
we have embarrassing videos. Like, Shanti, what are you gonna do?
You better stop flying over New York, girl.
I know, right?
You better stop flying over New York. What are you doing?
That picture's crazy, isn't it?
Get out the air. What are you doing?
Photoshop. It's Photoshop. Google picture.
Love the outfit. Oh my God.
Photoshop with real skills. Yeah, let's go there.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing that I'm so impressed with. Before we move on, I just want to say this to you. I'm sure you heard this before, but I am so impressed with the way that you value friendships. I can't say enough, like, because everything I've heard you say up to this point, you've always brought somebody along with you. Somebody was always. I mean, even the fact that your friends back in elementary school, like, we don't play, but if you want us to play, we'll play. Like, you know, it's like, this is
literally.
And I mean, even to hear you say, these are some of my closest friends still to this very day. I think that's so admirable. You just don't see that, especially with the level of success that all of your friends have. But again, that's why I say your story is just the unlikeliest stories, because you're like this puzzle. And all of you've always had the structure of the background, like all the edges were there, they fit in but the pieces you keep adding in, they all just been fitting so perfectly. So I just want to just applaud you for that, because I mean, there's some people that I grew up with I probably haven't spoken with in 20 years, and you're like, the girl that I was on the train with, and she's
girl that was in the park with the jeans on.
Right. That's so amazing. So now you're killing in high school.
Right.
You're winning all of the accolades, the awards, and you now got to make a serious decision. Not only where you're going to go to school academically, but where you're going to play athletically. Mm-hmm. How did you make that decision initially to choose Kentucky University? Mm-hmm. And what were your final schools?
Yeah, my final schools was UConn, Kentucky, Princeton. Is big on that, Oklahoma, and I believe it was Northeastern or Northwestern, in Louisville. And then these are all based on relationships, right? These are whenever, I looked at my list. These are very diverse schools, so it was based on relationships I had built with each coach over the years. I thought they had like humanistic aspects, of them in their programs, and what I think that they would allow me to grow as a person, as a player. And so ultimately I ended up going to Kentucky, which was awesome. I just remember that visit, with my family, with my mom, and it was awesome. You grew up over, like Kentucky there's no other sports team, so you kind of see, right, a college town, a college field. It's such a unique place.
In Kentucky.
Yeah, yes, and it was really that, like, it's something I have never experienced before. And so it was amazing. Playing that year at Kentucky, and then deciding to go there. And it was a strong staff, awesome staff there, who had left later on, but it was amazing. That was one of the biggest reasons, right? The people.
Arena.
So you go from Blair Academy, very sophisticated,
right?
Beautiful school,
right?
Now you walk up on
Bluegrass, right?
Bluegrass, Kentucky. You're there. What was that first day campus experience like for you?
It was, I'm such a foodie, so I always say it was going from oatmeal to grits, pancakes to biscuit and gravies. I was like, what in the world is this place? And why is breakfast so big? Like, what are y'all doing? And for like $5, I was like, what is this place? This is a sweet tea, right? I was 8. I'm like, what is happening? And why is there so much sugar in this tea? Like, what is going on here? I love it.
Ma'am, Miss Camara, you want some sweet tea?
Ma'am, right. The Southern hospitality, like it was a culture shock. And my friends wouldn't believe me. I'm like, this is not really like America. I'm telling you, this is totally different. And they cannot believe me. But it was amazing because now you're seeing sorority, fraternity, right? Like you're seeing culture at its finest, right? Like downtown hospitality. So it was that first day, I was like, we are not in New York. We are not in the tri-state anymore. Like we are in a whole different place. So it was awesome. It was awesome.
And Kentucky was 50-something thousand students?
Yeah, huge. I don't know how many students, but it was huge.
First class must have been like,
yeah. I mean, right, you get into your first lecture hall and you're like, hello, like 100 kids in this class.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, it's very big school.
So you're at Kentucky, highly recruited.
Yeah.
Yes. But even being a freshman, as highly recruited as you were, you gotta tell us that first time that you all played the University of Louisville.
Man, it was electric. I still remember you could feel after every basket, you could feel the floor shake. Like, like what is happening? And it's nothing. When you have those games, it's nothing like it because it's not just people understand it's not just the game, it's going to the hotel, right? It's seeing the team, it's leaving the hotel to the game, right? It's seeing ads for the game as you're going to the game, right? It's seeing the way the players come into the arena. It's the higher enforcement of police, right? Now you get the police escorts our first time. Oh, what? Like, like now we're not in a regular bus, we're in the, VIP bus, right? And so it's these little elements. You see your coach wear a little nicer suit. Okay, coach, like coach is dressing up a little nicer, and these are all the elements that go together that really say this is really it. This is they create those. So you feel it. And you may not have any hate. Like you hear the seniors talk about Louisville, and I'm like, whatever. Then you get in the game after the game. Louisville, like, you just have this thing that ignites in you that you didn't, now it become a rivalry, and now it's embedded, and now it's deep, and the game was so competitive that, it kind of just
it is deep.
Long-standing tradition. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, tell our audience because I don't know if they understand that it's not an either or. You red or you blue. There is no in between.
No. And this spans back, history. Like, so this is, historic. Like as early as I think, what is it called? As early as rivalry goes. This is one of the first, long-standing ones.
Which I'm really surprised Rick Pitino actually made it out of Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, how do you jump ship like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so insane. So you're balling and actually, I mean, you're playing very well. You're starting a lot of games. You're getting a lot of meaningful minutes. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah. So funny. I started school in June, and by the time it was August, I had lost 45 pounds, and I didn't know. And, completely cut body fat. And now, I had the skill, but now I have this body with like 10, 15% body fat. I can run circles. I'm in shape. Like, college shape, like I'm in shape. Like, we can go again, right? Like it was that. And so now you have the skill, now you have the body to match. And I think the last part is always the mentality to be of it, because you go from that shift of now you're starting, now you are the producer, or you're inconsistent to maybe you're starting permanently over other teammates and being able to accept it, right? You may not be cool, you're not my friend, but like now I'm starting. And now my role has shaped my responsibility, my seriousness and my attention to details to preparing for a game has started. I need a routine. I can't just be out here lacing up, you know, so all of that starts to shift. But I think that's what happened, the mentality of it, the seriousness of it. Again, if I miss a play, you're gonna get subbed out. You already know. It's a rotation. You know, and you know that person waiting. You know that I know that person is waiting on me. So I can't even drop the ball. So yeah, I think the mentality shifted. It's always what's
So you got the mentality shift. Coaching staff is treating you well, but then you make the decision to transfer and go to Connecticut. What brought about that decision?
Yeah, there's a different level. My goodness, when you fall in love with the process and you feel like you've been through something really difficult, and you sit down and you look at yourself and say, I can dig deeper, and I can go higher. And I think you have that belief in yourself and your trust in sports system, because it's not the belief in like, this is not going to be the hardest thing I've done, but like the belief that I really have been challenged in tough times and I overcame them. And I feel like I may not know what's ahead, but I have the confidence in my work ethic to sustain whatever's to come.
So bring on the next challenge.
So bring on the next challenge, right? It's every level has a new devil, right? Every level has a new strategy, and I was like, I think I can do this and go on. I think I had that to give, and being close to home, that was really, really important to me. You know, kids get homesick, right? Like Kentucky's fun, and I only had went home in August, December, and May, right? And I was a Kansas City for 4 years, so you know, also being closer to home is really, really important to me. And I remember even through my last, time when I transferred, I was like, I'm staying. The food was amazing, but I gotta stay close to home right now.
Right.
And I was,
How did you know though? Because there's a lot of athletes. I think there's different phases you go through when you enter college. Obviously, when you get there, you got to find yourself. I think there's an aspect where you're questioning, do I belong here? You know, all the good stuff the coaches was telling me that ain't matching up. But then again, your stuff is so unique. That's not your story.
Yeah.
They didn't want you to leave.
No.
Your story is, I wanted a greater.
It's hard to leave.
Yeah, it's very difficult to leave.
Yeah.
But you wanted a greater challenge.
Yes.
How did you know that that's what you were missing?
When I remember when we had just lost in the Sweet 16, Kelsey Plum in Washington, and I sat there and I said, I would give anything to never feel like this again. And you reflect, you have great systems around you, and it was just like, yeah, I want to be here. I want to do what it takes to reach this level every single time. Not that we weren't going to do that at Kentucky, but again, there's other factors that played into it. But I remember this game and just saying, wow, this is amazing. This a higher level, and more to get. And I think I can people do that. I remember reading the book Timmy Bovell, right? Like the cleaners, right? There's different, levels of work ethic. And I feel like, hey, there's something else. Yeah.
Hey, it's so funny you bring up Louisville, and I'm like, think of this girl that I used to talk to, meaning that I used to mentor her. Like her family sat her down and had her watch Hoop Dreams. So her name was Shoni Schimmel.
Yes, Shoni Schimmel.
That girl was the magic. I'm talking about she could throw pads. That's who I think of when I think of Louisville basketball, girls basketball.
She put them on a map. I remember, I think it was like one of the plays to get them in the Final Four or something, and it was crazy. Like she was putting on a clinic. Then they started showing the show of like she's shooting on the wooden basket. I'm like, what? The world, this girl's the truth.
Shoni Schimmel, baby.
She's tough.
Speaking of tough, you tough. Because what was that conversation like? Because remember, Gino was recruiting you earlier. and you turned them down. What was that conversation when you said, I'm ready to become a Husky? What was that like?
Yeah. This is really a hoops podcast because you guys ask follow-ups. No one has ever asked. It's just really it. The essence. Because I could give the fake answer or the real Gino answer.
We want the real Gino.
Hey, we want the real seem like
you know,
he would be like, coming home now, huh? You coming home.
He said, are you ready to make better decisions? I said, yes.
That's him.
No, but the question was, do you really believe you can play here? You really think so? You think you can play it? You think you can handle it? And you know, and you just ask, if you're in a room full of the coaches and your parents, but he's locked in on you. And you gotta say, like, with full confidence, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And believe it. Right? I think I can play here. I think I can make impact here. I think I can be here. And we're here. We are not here to play. We're here to compete for a national championship. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Totally different conversation.
And not just that. He's asking you, on top of that, are you willing then to come and play your part? You know, I mean, Kentucky's a different beast. They're different. So when you went there, who was already there?
So when I went there, it was Gabby Williams, Kia Nurse, you know, Crystal Dinderfield, Katie Fisa Collier, right? Like,
you naming the WNBA, okay?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And it was it, and that was it. It was totally different. I was coming in there with Azrae Stevens, who's also on WNBA.
Azrae Stevens,
The biggest move was Gino doesn't take recruits, transfers. He only taken one in his whole career. And he said, you know, sometimes they're hard to, you know, because they already have a system in place in them. So the biggest news was he has taken 2 transfers. Like, that's uncanny.
Heard of
do that. And he must have done that because he was thinking coachable enough to do so. Which, yes, and he fit on the team. So that was like really big for them.
Did Gino also say this? You know, our practices are harder than the game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he didn't say that.
He didn't say that? Just that, yeah.
No.
That's what I've heard. I heard their practices are harder than the game.
Yes, he does say that. Somebody, he's like, but to prepare you. So when you get into the game, it's easy. And things are clicking, which is, again, you're at a point where you get timeouts, you get foul calls, you're at a point of exhaustion, right, in practice, and you have to mentally thrive. You have to mentally think, right, where you're at a point of exhaustion. Well, you might get to that point in games, but like I said, there's timeouts, there's these, there's pauses, there's, media, there's so many elements of the game to stop at halftime where you don't necessarily get them. So, yes, it's extremely, extremely difficult. Like, game time was fun. Thank God. Thank God for something.
But interesting enough, was it fun? Because you're again, this is a different level. Not saying that Kentucky is not.
Champ.
Right.
Yeah. Not saying that. But now you're on this platform where it's like you are revered, but you're hated. Teams give you their best every game. People are rooting against you all to lose. I mean, it's like,
hey, yes,
and you gotta, and then you gotta go in there, and when you look up in the rafters, there's a pressure of, well, we need to contribute to one of these up here. I mean, did you feel that pressure? Like initially when he came to recruit you, did that play a role in you not wanting to go there? And then when you went back, did it play a role in you wanting to go there, saying, I'm ready for this now?
Yeah, I think it didn't necessarily play a role in me not going there, but at the time when I was going there, it was Brianna Stewart's senior year, right? So you had Brianna Stewart, and they graduated in 2015, so that would have been the year I entered. So you had Brianna Stewart, Marvin Tuck, Mariah Jefferson, and I was like, I want to go somewhere where I'm going to play, right? And that was important to me, right? Getting into my first year. And then I realized, wherever you're playing, are you getting better? Are you improving? Are there different things to the game that have changed throughout my freshman year, my sophomore year? So that was it. But it's amazing because I remember being home and watching UConn play, right? And like I'm in Kentucky and wow, there, this team, and then you don't necessarily have a hate, but you're like, what are they going to do? Like, they're always going to win, or how do they win? You have this curiosity, and when you get on the other side, you realize, oh my goodness, we are working extremely hard. And I had been on the side again. Every team in the world is working extremely hard, but it's so different. It's so different. The biggest piece is culture. It wasn't work. It's like you can steal any practice plan. It was the culture that they had set that was outliving all of us. It was stronger than all of us. It was stronger than anybody in the system. It's a strong culture that was embedded in the walls, I said. And that was so thick. And so when you get there, you see the culture that has been built. And you see, okay, this is really tough. This is really not easy and not normal. And when you see other teams like now that you feel the pressure, you're like, man, if y'all understood what's going on here. Because you can understand, I was on another team, like, man, they should lose, upset, but then when you get on the other side, you start to understand it a lot more.
Yep. Why they want to beat you so bad?
Well, clearly Gino has set a standard, because
absolutely,
when I think about his history, it didn't happen overnight. He incrementally built this standard. I mean, we can take it all the way back to Agee, to Rebecca Lobo, and where I think that's where that began to come in. But now I'm seeing a lot more teams take on his coaching philosophies. I mean, I don't think Dawn Staley is who she is without Coach Gino being who he is. I mean, it's amazing. But you got to tell us now, since you're a former player, you're there. I was coach. I mean, was he crazy? I mean, was he?
Yes. No, I'm joking. Yes, he was. I always say he's the Picasso of basketball. He is so knowledgeable. Hey, I need you to run to this corner in 3 seconds. Like, you ever watch like a spy movie? I need you to run to this corner in 3 seconds. You're gonna get the ball, and they're gonna pass with their left hand, and you're gonna shoot it. That's it. That's what's gonna happen, and that's the next play.
Wow.
So I always call him the Picasso of that. But outside of that, he knows people. It's not about he really knows people. And I think he would always share to us, like, we're in the confines of 4 walls. How do I get the best out of you? How do I create these fictitious situations that mimic bad game, injury? How do I mimic these adversity that can happen in a real game in the walls of practice every single day, to where you get into any game setting and you are prepared? How do I mimic? How do I mimic these real situations that are indescribable in the confines of these 4 walls? And he was an awesome storyteller. I think that's one of the biggest things. He's a great leader. He's a great storyteller. He's really most people. And he would, some days come in and he'd say, they were, and this is one of my favorite stories that I always share, is he'd say, there's a team of gladiators, right? And there were some gladiators where they were, put into the ring with no hope, right? This person is ultimately gonna, right, like, not make it out of this ring.
No.
But they put up such a fight that they live. The crowd says, no, this person is gonna live to see another day, right? And basically the point of that story was, in life, you're gonna be set up in these battles, in these arenas of life, and you still have the choice, right, to decide or to choose or to fight or to show up. And who you are and who you really are will show up. And he always said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So don't tell me you're a bad student but a good player, because you're gonna be a bad mom, you're gonna be a bad dad. It's gonna seep into what you're doing. So he was really about character building, again, in the confines of 4 walls. How can I make life and the struggles and its expectancies in these walls, to where I'm not just a great player, but I'm a competitive person, right? And that was the biggest shift. Like, don't just work hard, you are an embodiment of hard work. And I think when I talk about culture, one of the biggest ways he did that was, I remember my first year, I wasn't afraid of Gino. I was afraid of my teammates, and not in a bad way, but because of I wanted their respect. And we had these things called players' practices, or the players' more practices. Players could kick you out, and you could mess around with your coach. You can't mess around with your teammates, right? Because they are working their butt off, right? Like, and I'm not getting coached by coach. Before, I remember our first pickup. I'm just playing pickup, and it's like, no, you don't pick and roll. You pick and pop. Did you not see where the player went? Oh, that's a pick and slip. You messing up my reads. Like, you off, right? Like, you off. And it was that level of respect to where coaches and follow players. And so I'm not worried about what coaches want to say. I'm worried about I'm walking into the locker room and I have the respect of my teammates. And not just here, because now you see alumni come back, right? Like you come into the locker room. I remember I came and I see Maya Moore on my seat. I don't know if I tell Maya Moore to get out. You know, and Maya Moore's, you can do whatever you want, Maya. Like, I love you. Like, and you see, you know, you see these players and they come back and they have this really like long history of alumni coming back. And no matter what, they're like, what's the captain? They go to the captain. Who's the captain on this team right now? And that was the standard. Like you have Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi talking to the captain. You wanted to be that. You wanted to earn their respect before coach, right? Because they knew that was when I graduate. That's you know, you have some alumni come back and it's the sideline. But when I graduate, do I have their respect? Do I have the respect? And so I think, yeah, coach is an awesome leader, right? Awesome leader, just thought savvy, really, really understands people and has created a system and culture where it's a players program in terms of you're really fighting every day to be the best for your teammates, but also earn their respect because their thoughts matters and they're going to work their butt off, right? These are girls all going WNBA down. You know, who am I, right? Who am I to not, right, bring my best? And so I thought that was going to be this differentiate.
Truly, have you been back?
Yes, I have been back. I have been plenty of times. I've been back to games or different events, a lot of speaking engagements on campus. So it's been great to be back. And another quote he'd say is, you know, dynasty is fighting so everything stays the same. And so you have new players and you have these, but again, through this hardship of what was practice and what was this program, you have this shared experience, a shared bond, right? Like, coach is crazy, right? Girl, I know.
Right. Yeah.
And you're gonna have that for generations to come. And you bond through it. But and also this desire to really be great, to be exceptional, and to know that you're there because you're trying to push for
you know, coach had to be crazy.
Yeah.
Coach had to be crazy and be insinuating other things to make the practice uncomfortable. I need to bring a level of focusness. You got to be crazy to think of these things, bro.
Yeah.
But on top of that,
a genius also too, because it was very intentional.
He is a genius. But what I love is, and you don't see this very often from coaches, not saying this every coach, but he also had an ability to teach every level. Like no matter what level you came into his program on, he could take your talent and get the best out of it. And I don't see that in a lot of coaches. When you see coaches that come in, if you're not doing what they expect you, they're looking for somebody to replace you already. Coach Gino builds you up. Even if it takes him 4 years to get you there, he will get you there. You know, I've always said this about Coach Ping, and I know a lot of people didn't like him in the movie, but he's been the best basketball coach I've ever had because he taught me the game.
Yes.
I didn't know X's and O's, you know. Literally, when I got to college, I was able to play my freshman year simply because I understood back screens, cross screens, call out picks, when to go under, when to go over top.
Yeah.
You know, help side defense. And I see that so much in Gino and his players, but he do it on such a level where, and I'm seeing it in Don now, but he's done it on such a level where these super talented athletes. I mean, how do you get Amaya Moore, Lady Jordan to buy in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like what you said earlier. It's the teammates that was
culture.
like, and I think that's the secret there. So I know you ain't gonna tell us that secret, but but there gotta be there's a secret in that sauce.
It's also look out for your teammates, right? Like be a good person. As much as the pressure was on our seniors to show up in practice and hold us accountable, it was the same, and I saw that. It was the same in take the freshmen to the grocery store. You should have dinner. You should cook for them. You should know who they are as people. Like don't be a bad person. Like that was undermined, but that was so real. Like that's not a good person. A good person doesn't do that. Like it was called out and it was super transparent. Like you're not a good person. Like, that's trash. That's not good.
Hey, Batouly and Will, I know what y'all saying, but I don't think it's that. I think it's some in the water. I think it's some they putting in I think it's some in the Connecticut rain that they got the drinking, and that's the secret. Like, we got out the water, so that's the secret.
Yeah. You say she could tell us all this fluff stuff all she wants to. She won't. Pulling a Space Jam move on us, making us think it's just the water, huh? But
I guess we'll never know, right?
Absolutely. The winning is the proof. We see it.
Right.
Because you're a champion.
Working.
I mean,
yeah,
you're a champion. What was that like?
Yeah, I didn't actually. I wish I was. We made it to 3 Final Fours. And then we had COVID, so I left. I graduated during COVID, but we did it. But it was, competing at the Final Four, and it was amazing. Again, this is the highest stage. When I talk about film and ground shake, this is the highest stage of basketball, and takes a different level of preparation, of focus, of talent, of just preparation. So yeah, those were unforgettable moments. For sure.
So in my mind, if you make it to 3 Final Fours, even if you don't win them, you are a champion.
Thanks.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Because come on, man, 3.
Yeah.
People dream about stuff what you just did.
Yeah.
But not on top of that, when you got the world coming against you, and obviously every year it had to be, us against them mentality.
I mean, it's
but
levels
you guys
to this.
But you guys were so dominant, and I love Connecticut basketball, except for when y'all played Marquette. I did not like that. That was, I just never forget. I'm watching one game. I'm like, okay, Marquette might be able to compete. They ranked top 10. Yeah. Connecticut let them know real quickly that there's
in the first 5 minutes, huh?
That there's levels to this, and they ain't even on it. So. That's how it was. But you've had an exceptional career. But I want to transition into this next level. And obviously we could talk about your playing pro career, but we've had you so long. And I want to just talk about, the things that you're doing now, because I think this is just like next level. You're talking about transitioning into your calling. And I mean, literally, this is what this is. You started a non-for-profit called W.A.K.E again, which stands for Women and Kids Empowerment. And what you're aiming to do is really take this game of leveraging everything that basketball is giving you and providing educational opportunities. And I like the word you use in there is deserving, because oftentimes people often look at playing sports that, we ought to be blessed, but the reality is, yes, we are blessed, but everybody don't get an opportunity to even play. Right. I've saw some of the things you're doing, just providing basketballs. There should be a time when, that wasn't even a question. Mm-hmm. But your organization is doing so many impactful things. Tell us about W.A.K.E.
Yeah, I started Women and Kids Empowerment in 2017 during my junior year of college. And it was after I traveled to India for a month. I volunteered for an organization, and I had such an amazing time. And I said, there's so many people who's having their first experience of sport. And I thought back to mine. And I also visited my home country, Guinea, and said, there's ways we can educate, equip, and empower young girls through sport. And I think, this is such a powerful tool. And so, that was our mission, to create access, resources, and opportunities for them to play. Right, access to high-level coaches, resources. We built 2 basketball courts, right, in particular, and opportunities, right, to go through tournaments or through camps to continue playing, or to have their first experience at this game. And, on the stateside, we have after-school program, and we have basketball camps. But that was amazing to be able to pour into girls' way. I've had mentors and amazing people in my life, quarantine. Yeah.
Now, it says that you're working to launch the first all-girls elite boarding school in Africa?
Yeah, so this would be, one of the first, because a lot of them are co-ed, which is amazing, but, built for girls with them in the forefront. So yes, like I said, I had such an amazing experience at Blair Academy. I loved it. I loved every single bit of my experience. And I really, my second year of my PhD at UMass Amherst, and I'm studying sport for development, right? Like, what are sport academies and how do we really make them beneficial? And I didn't want to just open up this school. I really want to be an expert in this field of what really works and what's out there. And so, creating a space for girls with them in mind, the forefront, I think is important. I have an amazing time at boarding school. Would love to create that same type of feel and that structure and those opportunities to young girls and communities who don't necessarily have that.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and you were built for this, no doubt about it. I don't think anybody else could be doing this on the level that you're doing it on, but share with our audience how they can really help you, because the thing we understand that being non-for-profit, 100% meaning that you got to raise resources to make it go. So how can people connect and get involved?
Right. Or me and William can just call up Bezos from Amazon, and he knows Belinda and Bill Gates, and we could just tell both of them to write you a $5 million check.
Just expedite it.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. That'll make it happen.
We name the gym. We'll name the gym hoopdreams. Something.
We could just make the possibilities for you. Yeah.
The possibilities are endless, but I would say in terms of support, I think we think of it so linear as in terms of monetary donations, which again, as a nonprofit, is really important for us, right, to move this dream forward. But I've also found the power of people's time, right, coming down to our events, right, speaking through and brainstorming through our ideas, collaborating, right. Maybe we're not going to be able to do this, but we can partner on events. That's not necessarily something that you see every day, or I may have, like you said, a connection or a resource. So I think there's so many ways that we can be creative, right? Outside of that, but your time, right? Your social capital, just your presence, and podcasting and platforms like this, I think are so important to spreading the message. So I think there's so many unique ways that we don't necessarily think about outside of the box, but whether it's income, like I said, different resources that you may have access to are really, really important for us. Not the other nonprofits, just trying to grow and trying to impact young people in a positive way.
And I saw that FIBA has partnered with you on a few things. Are there other organizations that's partnering with you, or maybe other organizations that you would like to partner with you?
Yes. So one of our first ventures with the Billie Jean King Foundation, and that was awesome. That was in conjunction with the SFEs. And so that was, phenomenal grant for us. We've also been featured in Converse and Yahoo and Overtime Sports. So those from another disabilities, so those all have been great features to be highlighted, for potential donors and sponsors to kind of see the work that we're doing and being recognized by these platforms.
Yeah.
And we've also, outside of FIBA, there's an organization, Team Up, who actually came down to Guinea, hashtag your invitation, came down to Guinea to build the court. So they stayed there for 5 days, and we, gave over 200 music fires. We did a water pump to a community that didn't have it, and we built this basketball court and had like an amazing 2-day camp. So it was phenomenal. So Team Up, huge shout out to them and their work with us. And yeah, FIBA, we had a women's tournament. We had 100 participants, which was amazing. It was week long, 100 basketballs, and that was really monumental. We're doing an event with them on World Basketball Day, December 21st, and so we're really excited about that. It's going to be a basketball festival in West Africa. And our most recent partnership, which is on Wednesday, November 13th, we are doing our multi-sports day, right? I think it's important for girls to do basketball, but also to get exposed to different sports. So there'll be robotics, archery, basketball, tennis, table tennis, right? And they will have an opportunity, peer grading, right? To have an opportunity to just develop some skill set and see where the interest lies. Maybe not being NASA, but sometimes you just need the spark and the resource. And it's in the Bronx. All these organizations are in the Bronx in your community that they may not necessarily know about. Like I said, we had fencing available, tennis, ping pong, soccer, all within the Bronx and Harlem that they didn't know. So these allow us to do, provide them the resources to start a sport, but also to gain access to organizations that are in there, right, in their city. And so that grant was through Gainbridge, Parity, and Women's Sports Foundation. So we're really excited about that. That's, like I said, next week, Wednesday. So really looking forward to gearing up for that.
Batouly, let me ask you this. How has the Muslim community rallied around your causes?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest cause is sport, right? And I think ultimately health is wealth. I think you can preach that message far and wide in any language. Like, you have this body that's a vessel and that's a temple, and what's the best way that you take care of it? And I think our kids, with social media, are losing the ability to move, to get up, and to play. And so, outside of the simplistic community, I think every community is really big and deep and searching for that, searching for extra opportunities, searching for access, searching for resources, or for their kids to be better. And so they've been awesome. Again, I think gear is huge. As a young kid, you get a t-shirt, you're excited. You get some sneakers, you get some shorts, you're excited. So being able to, again, within the business community, provide the jabs for girls so they feel comfortable and feel well equipped to go play and to move is really, really important. So that's been
wow.
And I have to ask this, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
Okay.
But it is dealing with the Muslim community because, there's been these hate crimes, things of that nature. Have you received any resistance to what you're doing with your foundation?
No, I haven't. I haven't. I think there's a lot going on in the world. It's so many different communities. I personally haven't. Even in my direct community, other women who I think are doing this work in the nonprofit sector also haven't. And I think that goes a lot into sport, right? Sport has always been, I think, a place for peace and for
a common ground,
for unification, a common ground. I think you see that more than ever. And just a place to escape, right? There's a lot going on in the world, and we just need to clear my mind and to move. And so I think within our community, within the sports community, I think really, really take this space, but also definitely understand and, like I said, praying and thinking about the world and all those around it and what is going on. It's really.
Hey, Batouly, let me see if Will been paying attention. Will, what's our slogan? Until we all got it.
Hey, you're gonna put me on the spot.
Don't say number two. Don't say number two.
Just see what comes to the heart. Don't think about it. You never got to think about it.
I just literally, I just said it. But until we all got it, nobody got it.
Nobody got it. Yeah.
Even though, listen, I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it. But it hit back in my head.
It hit you, yeah. Break that down for our viewers.
Yeah, I think we often just get so worried of what's mine, what I have, and that it's fleeting. It's always fleeting. And I think until we can spread it and we all have access to resources, to opportunities, right, to leverage ourselves, our businesses, our personal brands, our families, and it's always going to be a fleeting thing that we're trying to gain in our community. I think once we all have it to share and to gather and to grow from it. So, right, like no crab and fucking mentality, just, together we rise, until we all have it. None of us have it until, we are just resourceful in that. It's just still a dream, false and chase, rather than cultivating and nurturing and growing in our communities.
But Batouly, we've had you so long.
Yes.
What I'd like to do is
time is flying.
My dog got a final question for you, but what I want to do is I normally have a question too, but what I want to do with my question is I want you to first of all, because you have a non-for-profit organization, and I've ran non-for-profit organizations, so I know there's a big ask, and I want you to give us your big ask so our audience can know, and also let them know where they can reach out to you, how they can find you. But most importantly, I know you talked about, it's about volunteering
and time,
and I do believe that is. If money is A1, that's A1, plus, because getting people to invest themselves into what you're doing, to me, is the most valuable resource we have available to us. But give us the big ask and let us know how people can help with the big ask.
Yeah. Like 10 million. No, the big, yes, right?
Don't be shy.
The big is so important, right? The big ask, right? Yes. Fortune favors the bold. And the big ask for us is obviously in building this school. which is, it's like over $2-3 million project. But I think it's more than just this school and this safe haven and this opportunity for girls, but it's also growing and expanding the brand, right? With a really nice and elite space. Who's not to say that you have the Agees, these little prep schools, WNBA players come down to these countries and have a place to, to be or to train, right? These role models, these inspirations, because we don't have that on the continent. I think, the Olympics, we saw South Sudan got on top of the community that distinction in court. So I think having the access to real adequate resources, you don't have to go for the country. Having access to real adequate resources in the country is really important. Guinea ranks right now number 12 in the country, in the world, for literacy rate for young girls as an age of middle school. So I think by providing this opportunity right there on campus, they're receiving education, and there's other factors in place for us to kind of eliminate that and really improve education, especially for young girls, and create gender equity in sport and education for young girls in Guinea. It's really, really important. So that's one of our big asks. One of our, I think, most kind of our projects that we're working on right now is we're building a third court. And as you mentioned, these courts are not just places where kids play basketball, but these are safe havens. These are where we have, hospital and community check-in. These are where kids come and seek a safe refuge. And so those projects are about $30,000 to build a court, to moderate it, to have, full camps. So we're working on our third basketball court now. We've received a lot of interest in a few, startup funds for that, but we're looking for a partner for that to complete that project. And then we're always looking to do our camps in our New York City, really targeting the African immigrant community, because maybe, like I said, I didn't speak English when I was 7, right? And oftentimes your parents don't speak this language. And now, because of that, you're missing out on opportunity. And I can only think, what if my mom, had something translated in French, or somebody in the community reached out to her, I'd be playing basketball at a younger age. So we really try to diversify, whether it's French or native language, to really give and provide access to camps to these communities and resources. One of the biggest factors for girls not playing sports is sports bras. So that's something that we are looking for. So kind of to narrow it down, as one, our biggest, or the biggest, which is the sports academy in Guinea. The second is our basketball court, the third basketball court in the community that I think it really would benefit from it. The third is empowering and need funds that can go and find donations, time, or resources to our camps, right? Particularly this sustainable community, and creating resources and opportunities for them to participate in that. And the third, the fourth small ask is, right, sports bra and equipment for our girls to feel confident and prepared to play sport and to move their bodies, their vessels, and to try to live more healthy, rich lives.
There you go. I think she will. I love how you answered that question, because my next question and last question was going to be, what's in Batouly's next chapter of her hoop dreams? And you just laid it all out in 4 stages.
But now she has to answer that question for her personally.
Yeah.
What's in Batouly's next chapter of her hoop dreams?
Yeah, I'll finish at school. I have about 3-4 more years of school, so that's really long. And I think it's so important to be a part of it, but I also think we need a lot of educators. And I think that the research is not done. I think there's so much power in resources and statistics.
Are you going for another master's degree, or
it's my doctoral program. It's a PhD program. So I'm in my 2nd year right now at UMass Amherst. I think the power of education is really important. And so I think there's some real research that we can get, especially looking at basketball on the African continent as it continues to grow. I think we need to be intentional about that, about how it affects the community and how we can positively affect the communities through sport, and how that can create economic growth within communities. And so researching all of that, then we want to be intentional with the work that we're doing, but also with the work that I think is going to be taking place on the continent. That's one aspect is growing at a rapid rate, not enough to provide and be a resource in a way that I can.
Thank you so much for being on the show.